protest free. No silence or pain, but a sigh. No endless crowd strain. Simple life, heart of a nation. Doors unlocked at night, spirit strong. We belonged where we belong. Take me back to the 80s glow. Rights were real, freedom flowed. Houses we could buy, safety everywhere. People secure without a care. Now 2026 steals it away. Prices sky high, freedom's decay. We had more than golden and white. Australia was Australia. Fight! Nostalgia hits like a rock and roll cry. Fought inflation, but we soared high. Kids rolled free, you were lungs and feet. But the 80s live here.
G'day Rockstars, how's it going guys? On today's episode it's going to be an Australian update, and my goodness, there are some interesting names being mentioned on the Epstein list, including Australian politicians guys, very interesting. Also, the Palestinian marchers are losing their minds, it's been chaotic guys, and the police, well, they're there to do a job. And it's good to see that they're getting the same treatment that we've copped for many years, just for having differences in political beliefs. So let's check it out guys.
Come on, man.
Assaulting her!
March out of the public square. Please disperse. Please disperse.
Stop pushing people! This is only happening because you are all such violent losers!
Ladies and gentlemen, move back. Please move back. Please move back. Please move back. This area has been closed. Move back.
Okay, Rockstars. So the left have been a bit emotional lately, and I'm glad that the police are actually doing their jobs this time and restoring peace and order, because that seriously needs to happen. Can't get away with this sort of behaviour, Rockstars. So what's making them emotional? Well, Gaza's being blown to hell, and a lot of women and children are suffering. What about our children that are suffering? We have a huge pedophile problem here. But there is some good news, guys. There are a few that have been busted.
Police will allege in court that the initial examination of those devices has discovered thousands of videos depicting the abuse of live children aged between babies and 12 years of age. Amongst these deplorable images were also a number of videos depicting the sexual abuse of animals.
Okay, Rockstars, and I'd love to thank the law enforcement. Bravo, guys. Getting those scumbags off our streets is very important. There's just no excuse for that kind of behaviour. Speaking of which, I stumbled on this video clip from the other side, and I found it quite interesting. He's been naming names on the Epstein list, but he's also been correcting a bit of misinformation out there, so check this out.
Well, those new Epstein files were released and have sparked a lot of misinformation and nonsense online. I'll get to Prince Andrew and the apparent clearing of Donald Trump later. But mostly people are focusing on Bill Gates. But was anything really material said about him? Here's what we actually know. There were some draft emails and some notes from Epstein, but it's not clear that they were even sent, containing allegations suggesting that Gates sought medication for an STD allegedly contracted from Russian girls, and even that he wanted to give that medication secretly to his wife at the time. There's no emails from Gates to Epstein, no comments from Gates, just Epstein's claims. So that is not evidence of anything. Bill's ex-wife, Melinda, hasn't been too helpful, though, clearing her ex. She did a radio interview in America on NPR saying that she was, quote, so happy to be away from that muck, unquote. Gates' spokesman says Epstein's claims are absolutely absurd and completely false. Melinda says the documents have brought back memories of her painful times in her 27-year marriage, but that any questions about her former husband's involvement with Epstein were for him to answer. There were some Aussies named too, former PM Kevin Rudd, the daughter of former PM Paul Keating, and mining billionaires Andrew Forrest and Clive Palmer. Andrew Forrest was simply mentioned in a one-line email from Epstein to Catherine Keating, sent in May 2011, asking if she knew Forrest. Catherine Keating, Paul's daughter, replied saying that he was a friend of mine, spent a week in Dubai with him last year, why do you ask? Epstein said Forrest had met with a friend of his at a US investment bank and the friend had described him as great. Mr. Forrest has never met Epstein, so that one's a massive, massive nothing burger. Clive Palmer was mentioned in exchanges between Epstein and former Trump advisor Steve Bannon in 2019. Bannon claimed that he orchestrated Palmer's political advertising campaign during Australia's 2019 federal election. Foreigners are allowed to be consultants to Aussie election campaigns, so there's no wrongdoing there, even if it is true. But how would you ever know if Bannon was overstating his involvement to Epstein to big note himself? Clive famously blew a cool $60 million on that campaign and didn't win a seat. And Clive says it's all rubbish. So another massive, total nothing burger. Kevin Rudd was mentioned in a couple of emails about political meetings that Epstein was involved in organising, but Rudd's office said there was no records of the meeting flagged by Epstein. And even if there was, so what? Epstein organised a lot of political and business meetings. Look, guys like Epstein go after rich and powerful people to tie them up in scandals so they can manipulate and control them later. There's not much anyone can do if they get mentioned in his emails. But let's be clear. Epstein was an utterly revolting human being. He was convicted sex offender, convicted in 2008 in Florida for sexually abusing a 14-year-old girl. Federal officials identified 36 girls whom Epstein had allegedly sexually abused. He was sent to jail by a Florida state court, but only on lesser charges after a plea deal which some say was a bit dodgy. He served just 13 months and spent most of the time out on day release. Then the feds got him in 2019, 11 years later, for the sex trafficking of minors in Florida and New York. He died in his New York jail cell a month after his arrest, officially by suicide. Some say he may have been an agent for foreign spy agencies. He and his vile accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, clearly preyed on young, vulnerable women, many underage, and they preyed on the rich and powerful too. That needs to be remembered when we hear of some high-profile person being associated with them. Just being invited to an Epstein party or even to the notorious island would not necessarily be an indication of any wrongdoing, only of bad judgment, especially if you were still in contact with the guy after 2008, when everyone knew he was a sex criminal. The guy was a revolting influence peddler. He was everywhere, and he was always trying to get photos with high-profile people like Donald Trump. But despite every attempt to link him with the president, nothing substantial has been established. Trump and Epstein were socially acquainted in the 90s and early 2000s. Trump said he ended his friendship with Epstein and barred him from Trump's Mar-a-Lago club in Florida long before 2008. All of this should mean that any journalist worth their salt would tread very carefully in reporting on these Epstein files. But so eager were the mainstream media to go after Trump that they were shattered when absolutely nothing very material came out. You read about how deliberately deceptive the US media can be, but you never really see it so openly and obviously as we did this week. The main document relating to Trump was a spreadsheet that outlined calls made to an FBI tip-off line. Now, anyone in the media or policing knows that 90% or more of calls to tip-off lines are usually just sad pranksters or, unfortunately, mentally ill people. And that is exactly what these sheets show. Now, that's too small to read, but you'll notice there's 3 columns. The first column outlines the claims, often the middle one outlines the claims, which are often completely outrageous and obviously made up. And the third column has the FBI's notes where it says things like not credible, complainant contacts police regularly, not credible, complainant has had repeated psychiatric evaluations, blah, blah, blah. But get this, Jake Tapper, one of CNN's supposedly top journalists, tweeted this during the week, and he has left off that all-important third column. So all people can see are the outrageous claims. Now, that can't be an accident, can it? I mean, he's done that deliberately, surely. Thank God for X and social media, which clarified this professional journalist's error. Trump haters continue to spread the crazy tip-offs and social media continue to correct them, pointing out obvious date errors and other things that were wrong with the original claims. So is social media the home of misinformation, or is it now the home of truth? And CNN and the legacy media are the home of misinformation.
He has a good point there, Rockstars. We are held accountable. If I get my information wrong, there's a good chance that I'll get a lot of unfollows, dislikes, and probably a few nasty comments. But with the local news media, they seem to get away with whatever scot-free. I mean, a classic example is, when have they ever got the weather right? Anyway, guys, that is a wrap. Don't be divided, stay united. That's how we win, guys. Take care.
They want inflation.
They are young and they're broke, believe the lies that they read, work their lives away with empty eyes and empty feet. Some are 12.